What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Danny Sheehan just dropped a bombshell about Jay Stratton. I've got all the details. Let's jump in. Please hit that like button, Vetters. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week about the UFO phenomena. Now, let me set the stage here before we jump into this clip from Danny Sheehan. So, Danny Sheehan, who is the head counsel and founder of the New Paradigm Institute, went on News Nation to talk about the new pope and the type of disclosure that he may bring, as Danny puts it, in the next 5 to 6 years, right?
And they know a lot more about the existence of this extraterrestrial civilization than they have yet publicly revealed. This is what's getting ready to happen in the next 5 to 6 years.
He's basically claiming that the pope, this new pope, the Vatican, they know a lot more about UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials, and in the next 5 to 6 years, we're going to get disclosure from the Vatican of sorts, right? So during this conversation is where Danny drops this bombshell about Jay Stratton that I had never heard. And who is Jay Stratton? Well, he was David Grush's boss, right? He was the head of the UAP task force, which is the same organization that David Grush worked for, and Jay Stratton had tapped David Grush to do that famous investigation that he then testified to, right? Finding 40 witnesses, uncovering, this grand cover-up for decades, alien crafts, dead bodies. We've got it all, right? This is where it gets interesting because Jay Stratton is mentioned here in this clip, and Danny Sheehan says something about him that I don't think most people know, and you'll understand what I mean when you hear it. So let's play the clip.
David Grush, as the whistleblower testifying before Congress, talked about a cover-up, that the U.S. government has been involved in a decades-long cover-up. The exact language was akin to, it's an alien crashed aircraft recovery program that collects, stores, and re-engineers what they find, and that they are non-human dead pilots. All I have to say to that is that it is fascinating. I don't think it's impossible, but it sure is difficult to have upwards of 10 administrations since Carter all keep these secrets. And only David Grush is the one whistleblower who's come out and said something. And that's usually the story about a vast conspiracy. The more vast it gets, the more hard it is to contain. So why would something this explosive be so perfectly contained for so very, very long?
Well, actually, there are over 40 top secret classified experts from deep inside the federal government and various agencies who have already come forward and testified in secret behind closed doors to the Senate Intelligence Committee. So it's not just David Grush that is confirming this. There are all kinds of people, including Jay Stratton, who was the head of the Advanced Weapons Special Access Program inside the Pentagon, who has been in charge of trying to develop a weapon system out of the technology that's being recovered from these craft so that our government can establish full spectrum military dominance over the planet.
And there it is. So he's claiming that Jay Stratton is the head of some advanced aerospace, right? Weapons system program, whatever, all these acronyms and names. The gist is basically that Jay Stratton is the head of a program that is reverse engineering alien technology to then create a weapon, right? I don't know if that's been mentioned before. Not like that. The whole idea is that we were looking for things, right? But Danny is claiming that Jay is the head of a program that reverse engineers alien technology, and not just reverse engineers alien technology, engineers alien technology to, again, create a weapon to be used against our adversaries, right? And this is where Danny forks in the road, because he doesn't really agree with this sentiment, as you'll see.
So this is something that has to be addressed. This is not a legitimate objective of our national security to engage in that. And we have to be able to reach out and establish treaties with the other nation states, including Russia and China, in India and other major players, in all the NATO countries, to establish a treaty whereby we will all agree not to use any of this technology recovered from these craft for a weapon system. This is a critical thing that needs to be done. That's why our New Paradigm Institute in Washington, D.C. is dedicated not only to securing full disclosure of what our government knows about it, but also helping to formulate a new paradigm post-contact worldview so that we can understand the value of our human family in the hierarchy of beings in the universe, so that we don't consider ourselves like some primitive tribe that gets discovered, in 1955, that there's a world outside of their island, so that their entire civilization collapsed, be that as it was. We have to start taking concrete steps to move step by step to adjust our major institutions, our geopolitical institutions, our economic institutions, our religious institutions, to accommodate this new information that is going to be made available, so that we can not only respect the other civilization, but we can be respected by them, so that we can, in fact, engage in a mutually respectful and mutually beneficial relationship between our two cultures. This is what has to be governed by people such as Pope Leo XIV now and the presidents of our country.
And again, this is where the difference is, right? He's claiming that Jay Stratton is developing for the U.S. government basically reverse engineered alien weapons, right? And he's saying we shouldn't be doing that. We should have treaties with all the different countries. All countries should agree we should not reverse engineer this for weapons systems. And I guess I have to agree there with Danny, right, in this particular sense. But, Jay Stratton isn't here to defend himself, right? So maybe there are things that even Danny doesn't know about that might make sense about that. Or maybe you create a weapon not to be used, but just for protection. I mean, there's a lot a lot of threads here to pull. It's clearly a nuanced discussion here, right? But Danny is adamant that this should not be done, right? So he's basically disagreeing with what Jay Stratton is doing here, if that's the case. And not just Jay Stratton, but our own American government, right? Now, why might this be an issue that Jay Stratton and others may want to pursue? Well, if you remember, there is a documentary that premiered at South by Southwest. It's called The Age of Disclosure. I've covered it on the channel many times, and I'm going to play part of the trailer from that documentary because Jay Stratton is in it and what he says we should look at, but not just what Jay Stratton says, what the trailer focuses on in particular, because this is exactly what Danny Sheehan is talking about. So let me play a clip from the trailer from The Age of Disclosure, this new UFO documentary that's coming out that features Jay Stratton, and you'll see what I mean.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret, very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
So maybe Jay Stratton will talk about this more in the documentary and when he's doing press for this coming out, right? Because there could be more here to know than what is being said, right? It seems very binary. Do we make weapons out of, this alien technology? Again, if this is true, right? If we have this technology, therefore the next question becomes, morally, what do we do with it, right? Do we create weapons with it? If we don't do it, are other countries going to do it first? Even if they say, no, we're not going to do it. But then secretly they are doing it. I mean, you know what I mean? You kind of just might do it just for protection, because in case other countries did it first before you. Right. So I can see the argument there. And clearly that is going to be something that's a part of this documentary that's coming out. And not just a documentary, but just the overall discussion that includes disclosure, right? Disclosing to the American people and to the world, what does that then mean, right? And what is the moral obligation of humanity with this, right? We're broken as humans, we're broken down into different sects, right? Different groups, different countries, different beliefs. And that may be hard to come to the same agreement, right? I mean, just look how we are with nuclear weapons, right? Lots of countries have them, right? We have agreements in place, but, how secure are those, right? This is kind of going to be a big discussion moving forward. Again, if we do have this technology, what should we do with it? Let me know what you think in the comments, y'all. We'll see you on the next video, vetters. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.